All right, everybody, welcome back. We like to get our hands dirty with the details, and you've been sending in some great stuff lately,
Yeah, tons of stuff about government spending.
especially on those juicy consulting contracts, right?
Right.
So we're diving deep today with this article from HuffPost called GSA Memo, Orders Cancellation or Justification of Non-Essential Consulting Contracts.
Catchy.
Yeah, it really grabs you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to unpack this whole thing and really try to see, what could this mean? What's going on here?
Well, the GSA, the General Services Administration,
Yeah.
they handle, things like federal property and services for government agencies.
Yeah.
And they're saying, look, we got to cut down on this wasteful spending. So they're basically saying to all these federal agencies, either you cancel these consulting contracts or you better justify them. And they're calling these contracts non-essential.
Okay, so when I hear non-essential, I'm thinking like, we don't need to fix that leaky faucet at the federal building or something.
Right.
What does the GSA actually mean when they say not essential in this case?
They're talking about those contracts where, like, the main thing you get out of it is information.
Okay.
Like studies, reports, research findings, even things like coaching sessions fall under this.
Interesting.
So if the main output of the contract is something like that, it's getting looked at.
I see.
Yeah.
And so this isn't, just coming out of nowhere, right?
Right.
I mean, this seems to be a part of the Trump administration's push to cut down on federal spending in general.
Right.
But hold on a second. Doesn't the Constitution say that Congress is the one that controls, like, spending the money?
Yeah, you're right.
So how does that work?
That is the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to make it even more interesting,
Oh, boy.
HuffPost got their hands on a leaked memo from a source inside another federal agency.
Oh, spicy.
It's getting spicy. And this memo seems to suggest that not everyone's happy with what the GSA is doing.
So there's pushback.
Yeah, definitely some pushback. And the memo is pretty clear. You need to justify every single one of these contracts.
What?
Explain why it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Or name someone who'll personally vouch for it.
Ooh, that's pressure.
Big pressure.
Yeah.
Big pressure.
So just to get an idea of how big we're talking here, I was looking at a report from the Government Accountability Office.
The GAO.
Yeah, the GAO, the watchdog.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure the government's spending our money responsibly.
Exactly.
And they found that between 2019 and 2023,
Yeah.
federal agencies spent a mind-blowing $500 billion
Wow.
on consulting services.
That is a lot of money.
It's a lot. And get this, over half of that went to just the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security.
I can see why they're looking into this.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the GAO also brought up these concerns about national security risks.
Oh.
Because some of these contractors, they're saying, are also working with foreign governments, including China.
Yeah, that's a bit of a red flag.
Yeah. That's a little scary, right? I mean, but is it fair to say that every single consultant who works with a foreign government is automatically a security risk?
That's a good point. I mean, it's not always that simple.
Yeah.
It's not black and white,
Right.
but you can't ignore the possibility of conflicts of interest there.
No, you can't.
Definitely something to think about.
For sure. Okay, so let's say they go ahead and they cancel all these contracts.
Right.
What happens then?
Yeah.
I mean, what happens to actual government operations in all these projects?
Think about it. Imagine you're leading this huge infrastructure project, super important,
Yeah.
and suddenly your whole team of expert consultants,
Yeah.
they're gone.
Poof.
Gone just like that.
That's got to cause some problems.
Big problems. You're looking at delays, costs, going through the roof,
Oh.
maybe even mistakes that could have been avoided if those experts were still around.
Yeah, that makes sense. So where does this leave us? I mean, how do we even define what's essential in all of this?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And it brings up another issue. What if this whole push to get rid of consultants ends up with agencies choosing less qualified in-house staff over experienced consultants?
Just to avoid this whole scrutiny thing?
Exactly. They might think, well, it's easier if we just do it ourselves.
But is it really?
That's the question, isn't it? It's like trying to use a butter knife when you really need a scalpel.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
So will this actually save money in the long run? Or is it going to backfire and make the government less efficient?
Less effective, too.
Yeah.
You need the right tools for the job, right?
Right. So it sounds like this GSA thing, it's not just about, cutting costs.
No, it's much bigger than that.
Yeah. It really opens up a whole bunch of questions about spending, about national security,
Yeah.
and even whether the government can actually function properly.
Absolutely. It's a can of worms.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So what are your final thoughts on this whole thing? What's the big takeaway here?
Well, it makes you wonder, right? Could this whole thing actually end up making the government less accountable and less transparent? It's something to keep an eye on as this all plays out.
Yeah, a lot to think about for sure. Great insights as always. And for everyone listening out there, keep digging, keep asking those tough questions as this story develops. And as always,
Stay curious.
stay curious.